The co-host of Roku Recommends. Guys, I did that show last week with Maria Menounos, and this man right here, every single Thursday, a new episode of Roku Recommends, so everybody knows what's going on here on the Roku Channel. 6-year NFL veteran and the co-founder of Status Pro here with a lot of gaming equipment is Andrew Hawkins here on the program. So let's talk about this. What's the VR world that you're entering in right now?
So my company Status Pro, which is co-founded by my partner Troy Jones, who's a former Division I quarterback. Shout out to Status Pro TJ.
Okay.
We started this company roughly together about 4 years ago. We were in this space before that, separately. But essentially what it is you get to play an NFL game as an NFL quarterback. So think of all of the sports games you've played that have been from the broadcast view.
Yes.
In our game, you're on the field. You make the throws.
Whoa.
You read the defense.
So the point of view is when you put on the VR equipment, you're Tom Brady.
You're Tom Brady. Absolutely.
Okay, you are Aaron Rodgers.
You're Aaron Rodgers.
Just name the quarterback.
You're Lamar Jackson, our cover athlete. You are, Jalen Hurts, who's hot name. Josh Allen. You can do it all at the quarterback position.
Okay. And so, all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty. I'm not kidding. If you're a football fan,
that's crazy.
And even if you're not, if you've ever thought, I wonder what it's like, it is like that. And we've tried to put as much detail from our own experience as athletes into it. And the whole idea of the company was if we can bring in the expert developers, which we have, the expert engineers, which we have, and the perspective of the actual people that have been there, we can democratize what this experience is like. So when you open the game, you get to run out into an NFL stadium.
That's cool.
And because we're like, what is the coolest part? The coolest thing of my NFL career, when I finally made it as a 5'7" wide receiver who spent 3 years trying to make it happen, was running out into an NFL stadium with screaming fans. I'm getting chills even thinking about it. It is an incredible experience. And I tell people when they would ask me, what was it like playing in the NFL? And again, I felt like a fan. I was like, yo, it's as fun as it looks. And that's what we've tried to convey in NFL Pro Era.
So the toughest aspect of doing this, Andrew Hawkins, making it look as real as it looks.
Yeah.
Getting the NFL to give you the marks and logos, which is
harder.
Which one was harder?
Absolutely the NFL one. I mean, come on. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. They know what they're doing. That's the quote of the day.
Understatement.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. It's tough because, you have to, there's certain checks and balances, right? And we're a startup. And we understood what was ahead of us. And it was a very long process. But I got to give them, complete credit because they gave us every opportunity. And, we just kind of continued with our head down and worked. This is something that we've been building for years and years and years. And a lot of that credit goes to the team that we've been able to put together, that team that has done almost every sports game, worked for every sports company, our marketing team that comes from all the biggest companies you could imagine. They all signed up because they wanted to try to change the game.
Well, and you couldn't ask for a better cover quarterback either.
He's a human video game.
Lamar Jackson. He is a human video game. It's a great way to put it. But also, I would sit here and think, if I could actually put on VR goggles and wonder what it would be like to play like that guy, I would choose Lamar Jackson first. Just to see, and the crazy thing is about what happened this past weekend. Because of how great the Dolphins play offensively.
We should talk about that, by the way.
I'm happy to do that in a second. But just the fact that Lamar was the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to throw one for 75 or more and run one from 75 or more in for touchdowns. And because the Dolphins did what they did, nobody's talking about that one remarkable statistic.
It's the game he had was impeccable. And I know that Lamar Jackson is a polarizing figure, not by any doing of his own right. But that is the nature of it. And to your point, that was the exact decision-making process we had when choosing Lamar. We're like, if there's one quarterback you wanted to be in the shoes of, who would it be? It's Lamar Jackson. And if anybody says differently, I would question whether they're telling the truth because it doesn't matter. That's a roller coaster ride, right?
Mahomes would be kind of close too, right?
But that's even more I would want to
throw it lefty.
The arm talent, with Mahomes, the angles, and
no underhands.
But for Lamar Jackson, the game that he had against Miami, which is, by and large, has been the kind of games he's had in his career. It is crazy that nobody talks about it like that. it's very interesting, the conversation that happens around him.
Another one might be Kyler Murray too.
Yeah.
Because I would like to know what it feels like to be the quarterback of the first ever 15-second long 2-point conversion.
Yes, exactly.
That took forever.
His angle at the O-line is very similar to my angle when I was in the huddle. So
You can't see
it wouldn't be my pick, but I've been there. I'm good.
You don't need the VR.
Yeah, I get this.
Andrew Hawkins here on the Rich Eisen Show, the co-founder again of Status Pro. Everybody should check out NFL Pro Era, available on MetaQuest and Sony PlayStation VR. Again, it is an NFL video game from the perspective of the quarterback. That's how you play it. NFL Pro Era is available at the official PlayStation Store and the Quest Store. You should check that out right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Let us talk a little bit of ball with you, sir.
Let's do it.
I was just saying, because I wasn't here yesterday, the Bills are stealing your souls and trying to mess you up. Not just try to win, but mess you up. Spit you out of their world in total disarray.
Yes.
And that's what they did to the Rams, and that's what they have done now to the Titans.
Yes.
That is the way that they play. Are they the team to beat in your estimation?
They are the team to beat. There's not very many holes in them as a team, and I think also what stands out is that it seems like their mentality is aligned at this point, because they've gone through these good seasons. They've seen the maturation and the development of Josh Allen, but it feels like they have that rare mix where the defense is clicking. They have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of conversation happening around them this year or last year, how good they played. Now Josh Allen understands. There's no question. He plays like he knows he's the guy. He has the receiving core. They have the O-line. It just feels like okay, this is coming together in a way that feels like a Super Bowl run.
Now, because we always ask in the NFL media world, of which you're lockstep in and right in the middle of, Andrew Hawkins, that we always say, how are you going to get better? You ask the quarterback, how are you going to get better? Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I just focus on the things I can control, and I know a couple things. You want to figure it out, and then you just don't really see somebody just appreciably get that much better when they're already great. I think Josh Allen has done that. It seems like he's in full, complete command, right? Whereas in previous years, he comes to the line of scrimmage, you're like, can he really pull it off? Is he just playing a little bit of street ball? Does he know what he's doing? He knows exactly what the hell he's doing.
It seems like the game is moving so slow for him.
It does now, right? Like the Matrix.
It's like there's not, and when you have somebody as athletic as he is, not sneaky athletic, straight up athletic, he's built like a D end. He can run, he can move, he's strong, he's tough,
right.
He knows what's going on, and he can make every throw. I mean, he is like the textbook of what you want the development of a quarterback to look like, because if you remember from that draft, it was, Rosen, Mayfield, Darnold, and the question marks were Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, right? And fast forward to now, and look where we are.
One's the cover quarterback for your new game,
exactly,
right? And the other one is I think widely considered MVP frontrunner.
Yep,
although we'll get Chris Brockman's MVP index coming up shortly. But I hear you. So who can beat him? What about the Dolphins this week? What do you think of that offensive performance?
I'm a Mike McDaniel guy. I don't know if you know that about me.
Go for it.
So Mike McDaniel was my receiver coach in 2014. That was the year that I signed with Cleveland from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I was a slot. I came in there. I think Josh Gordon got suspended, and it was like, hey, man, I know we brought you in for third downs, and, we paid you as such, but you're going to have to play the X, and you're going to be the 5'6" X receiver for us this year. We drafted Johnny Manziel, so you'll have that. And Mike McDaniel was the receiver coach. And I was like 28. I'm a student of the game, and I study, I watch film. I am very in it. Like, I had never heard anything to that point different about receiver play, because I unturned every stone. Mike McDaniel flipped everything that I knew about offensive football and receiver play on its head that year. And he was like, I just need you to trust me, and you're going to have the best season you've ever had, and it's going to change how you think about football. And he hit every box. And so I've been preaching his praises.
Give me an example.
Ever since.
What do you do?
So Mike McDaniel, he has a very quirky personality. I don't know if you know that about him.
I love him.
Very, very quirky personality. He is a football savant. And I know people say, there's people who are mad scientists or offensive gurus. No, he is a a Yale graduate. He is the kind of person that probably should be a scientist, but he just loves the game of football, right? And so he approaches it as such. He does not take any cliche. He does not take things the way that they've done. He doesn't, go with the flow because he's been told to do it this way. He gets a kick out of finding a different way, flipping what you think about football on its head, and then putting into practice to say, aha, I told you there was a better way to do it.
So what did he do? You got an example?
Absolutely.
At the receiver
Receiver,
position?
I mean, even he would break it down. We spent an entire offseason only working on releases. And I might say, oh, yeah, getting off the line of scrimmage, that's how you should. No, there were 3 kind of releases that you ever did, and you never had to deviate. And his whole thinking was, if you did it this way, 3 releases, and I'll tell you which ones to do before the game, by week 6, nobody will try to press, bump, run you, and you'll have a free release the rest of the season. And we're like, what are you talking about? And it was like, cornerbacks only play 3 ways at DB in press coverage. They either shuffle slowly backwards, or they press you with their hands, and essentially that's actually 2 ways. So there's 2 releases. One was just he gave you the option to do your own thing. And it was like, if they do it this, you do this. And going into the game, he would tell you, hey, he plays it this way. This guy plays it that way. Here's the only release you're allowed to use today. And you would do that one release, and everybody would go. And even how he broke it down, he wouldn't show us film of like football releases. He would show us Allen Iverson film.
Come on.
And he would say a release, the reason why a basketball crossover is so effective, because they have to show you every part of their body moving in one direction before they cross over. Right? There's no rush to it. And he would teach us, we'd be at practice, and we'd be doing crossovers. And so have you ever seen the clip of Stephon Diggs doing his release, and he's faking like he has a basketball in a football game? That's where that comes from. And so he would break down basketball tape for us to show us how to implement it in a game. And it worked. I mean, we went like 8 straight games to start the season without one person getting jammed and bump and run.
And so now you're saying this information and this style of breaking it all down has now been put onto the feet and in the minds and in the hearts of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Absolutely. And that's not just them. He's now done running backs, quarterbacks. He does offensive line. He was a run game. So he breaks down. This is how his mind works. He breaks down each position the same way. Like when you're running a drag route, it's like they call it a yak angle. Once you beat under coverage, like you're typically told, don't drift upfield on your routes. Don't do it, because that sells the quarterback out. Well, when you have Jalen Waddle and you have Tyreek Hill, he loves receivers who can get yards after catch. That's his thing. And it's by design, because he knows his thing is when you're doing it and you have a free range, you check first, but you drift upfield, because that puts you at an angle to be best when you have yards after catch. And it'll add X amount of yards, X amount of touchdowns, X amount of first downs. So he actually teaches the opposite of everything that I was taught. He teaches you to go in, to go out, where typically they say, hey, if you're going inside, don't get caught in there because you get stuck and it'll be a pick. No, he says, break the rules of everything that they've taught you, because that means they've also taught the defenses that and the D coordinators. So we're going to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, because that's the only way to innovate. So this is the kind of stuff he sits there in the meeting room and says. And when, as players, it's like, oh man, this isn't going to work. But then slowly you start having these games and these career games, and then the game slows down and it starts to become easier. That's why you have players that have played for him swear by him.
So you, Andrew Hawkins, are watching the 4th quarter against the Ravens. You're nodding your head. Yep.
I know what's coming, man. And in-game adjustments. And again, I'm not saying he's the next coming, but I'm telling you from experience. I tweeted this in like 2019.
Yes.
It was like somebody, and it's on there, and I'm going to retweet it today so everyone gives me my credit.
Okay.
But I said there are people talking about Mike McDaniel for a head coaching job. And I said I would bet every dollar in my bank account there is not a single candidate who knows offensive football more than him.
All right, I just found it. That was fast. January 10th, 2019. Hearing multiple teams have inquired about 49er run game coordinator Mike McDaniel for OC. I played 1 season under Mike, and if they want an offensive guru, I'd bet every dollar in my account that no other candidate understands offensive football the way he does. Every dollar.
So this is before anybody was talking about him. But this is what I know, because I've been around the guy, and I know how he obsesses over it. So, yeah, it's really cool to see what he's doing. And this week will, to your point, be one of his biggest tests, right? If they can knock the Bills off, then it's going to be Mike McDaniel mania.
So let me take it. Let me do a McDaniel and go a different way
flip
on it
on
right
me.
here. Flip
Yeah.
it on you, Andrew Hawkins. His not being in San Francisco, is that going to be something we see wind up on a day, a Sunday? It could be Sunday night in Denver. Will they miss him? I mean, that this not being there. I understand Shanahan's got it.
Yeah.
And I understand that the staff knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You remove that, though, from somebody else's offensive room. Won't there be a loss?
There will be a loss. Absolutely. And Shanahan is also the GOAT. I'm a big Shanahan fan as well for a lot of the same reasons. And Mike came up under Shanahan. But it's like in anything, there is like the master of something. And the ones who actually are successful are the ones that don't try to copy exactly what they've been taught, right? It's why the Belichick tree typically doesn't have the fruits that you would expect it to, because you can't be Belichick. You have to take the elements of Belichick that fit, right, and then put your own spin on it, Mike Vrabel, and then you have the ability to create your own. And I think that's what Mike has done really well. And if Shanahan was sitting right here and you asked him, and he was being honest, hey, is Mike McDaniel leaving you a loss? He would absolutely say yes. There's a major loss there that Shanahan is a good coach. He'll figure it out, right? But absolutely, it'll poke its head at some point.
How about that? And so this was the Mike McDaniel unshowered Mike McDaniel years. Did you hear that soundbite from him?
Yeah, this is the Mike.
He said that he used to go till Wednesday.
Yeah. No,
as
that's
an assistant without showering.
No, I can.
Were you around him
that.
as an unshowered?
Yeah.
You can confirm.
I can confirm.
Wow.
He's all ball all the time.
With sight or with the
with
olfactory?
Smell, with the old, with the old sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's time. You know, let's push this up to Tuesday.
Yeah, you want to flip the script? How about here's some
this? Yeah.
Here's some shampoo.
Some things are worth continuing the tradition of, Mike.
I love it. Andrew Hawkins here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so what's going on in Cleveland, do you think? Big game tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Did you hear that they had a defensive team meeting after Corey Davis just strolled in from 66 yards out and everyone was kind of jogging after him? I assume that was part of the reason.
You mean was this meeting after the game or in the middle of the game?
It was I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. Oh, it was in the middle of the game. No, it was after, because I think Delpit even said, I don't want to, talk about my teammates like that. Or I definitely botched his soundbite. But the bottom line is they had meetings, and this is a big game. Pittsburgh coming in, and it's a rivalry game that you clearly have played in multiple times.
Played in that game a lot.
What do you think's going on?
Got my teeth kicked in a lot by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So me and Joe Thomas, friend of mine, friend of ours.
Your pod back in the day, brother.
Yeah, thank you, friend.
I mean, for real.
I appreciate that.
That's when I was first hearing the two of you guys together.
We had some special. We got to get the band back together. It's time.
Absolutely.
But we would always have this theory on our show as two guys who played together in Cleveland. It's never good when you start having the team-only meetings. The players-only meetings, it's like the biggest indicator that it's going to be a rough go. So I'm hoping that defensive meeting had coaches involved, because the players-only.
I believe it was players only.
I don't. Yeah.
If you want to look that up, Chris. I think I saw that on the plane flying home last night.
In our experience, they were never. They were usually indicators of what was to come. But yeah, I think I was at that game. It was, my son is a diehard Browns. When I say diehard, he's all in. Like 10 years old, when they lose, like the tears stop. I'm like, hey man, you're not in the game. Relax. That kind. So we're there, and when it started to it fell apart so quick. But it is in NFL football for a lot of those guys, and they're young and they're talented, and I think they're playing better than people expected under the circumstances. That's the NFL. And I know it's cliche, but you gotta, those effort always to the end, to the whistle blows, everything you learned as an 8-year-old, like that is going to be teach tape for every defensive coordinator in the league for probably the next 15 years. This is how you lose a game, just by not making sure that you put it away with intention.
Damn. That's a pretty huge backdrop for this game.
Yeah.
How did the elf look in person?
It looked amazing.
Did it?
Yeah. Why do we not like the elf? Is that the consensus?
No, here's the thing with the elf. No, hold on.
You know.
For those who don't know about the history or the meaning provincially, locally,
right?
It's weird. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
It's weird because it looks like something from the 40s, which it's from.
Yes.
Okay, it looks old. it doesn't, and it's an elf.
He's a terrible ball leverage too.
Exactly. I think Coach Prefer even said that it's missing the 4 points of pressure.
4 points of pressure.
Right. So look. So nationally, when we don't understand the history and how the fans feel about it, our first reaction will be, "That's weird."
Yeah,
it's just an interesting choice, but I understand it. I'm just wondering what it looked like in person.
It looked great. Fans love it. You know, I think Cleveland in general has this like everyone's against this mentality. So I think the conversation around everyone else disliking it makes them lean in even more. Mm-hmm. They might put it on the helmet
because they picked it.
Well, Paul Brown apparently looked into putting it on the helmet, and even he passed on that.
Yeah, that was
so they started putting it on programs and media guides and stuff like that. I understand it's been around. I get it.
It's OG.
It is.
It's the OG.
It is an elf, though.
Yeah, it's an elf.
So, again, NFL Pro Era available on MetaQuest and Sony PlayStation VR. It sounds so freaking cool. And, again, if you want to feel like what it's like to be an NFL quarterback playing a game, you could just, again, go to the PlayStation store and the Quest store to figure it out. Marks and logos. It's the real deal.
Real deal.
You got the PA involved also.
Everything. We got Players Association.
How the hell did you pull that off?
It was a long process,
I
Rich.
bet, man.
It was nuts.
Congrats on
Thank
that.
you,
That
sir.
is a serious piece of business you just pulled off.
I got to give another shout out to my partner, Troy, man, because we've been in the trenches for years on this, and it is very incredible to see what our team at Status Pro has put together and to finally get to this point. We're the #1 game in the Oculus Quest store right now.
Wow.
Okay.
So check it out.
Congratulations.
Don't miss out.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir.
And I enjoyed hanging out on Roku Recommends with you and Maria Menounos.
We're Roku family, man. This is great.
We are Roku family
That's
together.
it.
How about that?
Yeah, here we go. Give it up for Roku.
Yeah.
Let's give it up.
Hey, Rick.
I enjoyed going there. They gave me a couple mugs. I gave one to TJ. You're drinking it right now.
Right
There
here,
you
you know,
go.
I'm just
There it is.
sipping
There it
on
is.
some tea. Hey, Rich, you want to blow Andrew's mind right now?
Sure.
Tell him where I'm from.
You're from the East
No,
Coast?
literally, tell him where I'm from.
Altoona?
You're from Altoona, TJ?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is nuts.
He's from
I'm
Johnstown,
from Johnstown, man. Johnstown and Altoona are
we're
like this.
Now, when you say where you grew up, do you say you grew up on the East Coast?
That's a no.
Yes.
TJ, why are you getting up? Get that, why are you getting up?
That's a no.
Why is he getting up?
He's fixing the
he's
camera.
fixing his
'cause
camera.
Hawk's
Wait,
gonna go over there.
Okay.
I say I'm from the East. It's like East Midwest.
Yeah.
TJ says he's from the East Coast.
I say mostly East Coast.
Yeah, because when you say it, it's just something. When you got out here, when you moved out here, it's just like, where are you from? East Coast, Midwest,
Yeah.
East Coast. Yeah, that's,
And also like where we're from in the middle,
back east.
in the
Back
middle
east
of
too, yeah.
Pennsylvania. It's a very like Pittsburgh feels like Midwest, but we're not from Pittsburgh. We're like in the middle of like
Right.
Philly and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right in the
You know,
middle.
so you get those cultures kind of all
Right.
in that center.
So you're from Johnstown?
I'm from
Pierre?
Johnstown,
And
Pennsylvania.
So
Johnstown's like a 25,
Hold on a
half an
second.
hour drive
Hold on a
away
second.
from
We're
Altoona.
essentially the Pennsylvania Twin Cities.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was about to say-
Altoona and Johnstown.
I used to live in Johnstown. Like our station is WTAJ, Altoona Television,
I get it.
Altoona,
I love
Johnstown.
It.
That's
I love
all.
it. How are the beaches in Johnstown?
They
They're great beaches. To see
There's
the
no
coast?
beaches. There's
the coast?
rivers.
We got creeks and
We got
creeks.
heck of creeks. Oh man, we got so
Creeks.
many creeks.
Oh, so that's the coast.
Yeah,
It's a
that's the
creek,
coast.
yeah.
So Pennsylvania's not East Coast to you?
Pennsylvania's East Coast. Philadelphia's East Coast.
Philadelphia is.
See, let me tell you something, Hawk.
So
These
what
guys.
what would you categorize?
Back east from here.
What would I categorize as the
Back
East
east.
Coast, where I'm
Yeah.
from, New York City? That's East Coast.
Okay.
Where he's
I'm from.
Boston.
Okay.
That's East Coast. Philadelphia's East Coast. Baltimore is East Coast.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
there's, a coast.
There's water.
You don't, so Arizona isn't the West Coast.
No.
No.
Hell
What is
no.
Arizona
No.
called?
Nevada's not the West Coast
No.
either.
No,
California's
Vegas
the West
isn't the
Coast.
West Coast.
Oregon's the
Oregon's
West Coast. And Washington's the West Coast.
Coast.
It's
We're
coast.
from Pennsylvania. That's
I
an
know.
East Coast state.
Yeah, that's what I'm
back east.
By the way, I've been out here 23 years, and until I got on this show, there was never a question, and these guys had to start to.
I'm with you,
nitpick for
TJ.
the
I'm
show.
gonna hold strong.
I know whenever they were said, the East Coast, West Coast thing, were anybody talking about Johnstown? or
Yeah.
Altoona?
Well, Biggie wasn't from
In
Johnstown,
Johnstown,
so
we were repping Biggie in the East Coast beef.
Chris, I'm sorry I didn't go down that wormhole. I know we're eating out of your
It's
MVP index
totally
time.
fine.
Okay. Very good. Do we have the camera? Can you get the camera on that laptop? Here we go. We're going to do that.
Brockman's going. Brockman's working.
Brockman's going. There's TJ Jefferson wearing the virtual reality material, the Meta right there. And what he is doing next to Andrew Hawkins.
Look at
there you
that.
go.
TJ's in the game.
That is it.
Look at him.
That is
what
you're looking at is the NFL Pro Era game that none other than Andrew Hawkins has put together. Okay. And TJ is Dak Prescott right now. That's, again, the NFL Pro Air available at the official PlayStation Store and the Quest Store is putting together this game from the perspective of the quarterback. Let me see that one more time. Let's see the VR. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. Is that a T-shirt gun for the fans or what? What the heck was that?
TJ just.
What the hell is that? Okay. All right, here we go. He's playing. By the way, for our radio audience, it looks amazing.
This is awesome.
He's huddled up right now.
Literally in the huddle.
Dalton Schultz is saying, "What do you mean you call that the East Coast?" All right, here we go. Shotgun snap. He's looking at everybody. Here we go.
Look at him, TJ. Come on, get the crowd.
There's Zeke to his right. You're definitely not going to hand it to him.
Here he goes.
All right, Zeke's out for pass. Oh, he hit his lineman right.
He threw it in a lineman.
The butt fumble too.
He just butt fumbled it.
Butt fumble.
Right in the perineum. Right in the perineum.
This is fantastic.
This is
okay. Clearly, the game is in a unique perspective. Hey, Hawk, that looks amazing.
It looks so good.
That looks amazing. All right, you've got 30 seconds to complete a pass, T.J. Jefferson. Here we go. Looking at his wrist, getting the play. All right, here we go. Break the huddle.
There he goes.
Here we go. Very good.
There he goes.
They're all looking at him like they're wondering about the leadership. Okay, here we go. Shotgun snap.
He just got paid
on the 5-yard line. And he's got the Dak. He's coming. He's wide open. And he hit his lineman right in the perineum again. Got to throw it higher, TJ. Higher. Let's do one more. There's 30 seconds to go. 30 seconds to go. Here we go. Shotgun snap. Dak Prescott's got it. Dak Prescott's got it. Throw it up. Touchdown!
Was there a touchdown?
Touchdown! Cowboys!
He did it!
Touchdown! Cowboys!
Yeah! Oh, we're dancing!
Oh my gosh!
It's gritty! It's all happening!
Cooper Rush will not get another start.